Kelly?
Yeah, actually, I've kind of gone through the same thing. I've left the company that I've been with, oh, I don't know how many times, and I just keep going back. I've discovered that, yeah, I'm meant to do it. It kind of checks off all my boxes, and so yeah, I at one time, like, I had kind of a dream where somebody said, yeah, you're meant to do this. So I can't say that I disagree.
Mhm. Eric's story kind of reminds me of, some things that happened to me where, I want to be doing one thing, but I'm kind of pushed at another level to do something else. And it's only when I reflect back as to what was going on that I realized, oh, that was a really important thing for me to do. So anyway, okay, so Kelly, is Bob going to share his thoughts? Yeah, I can't get her muted. Okay, Kenny, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I do. I'm noticing how theoretical this discussion is becoming. It's not that practical, is it?
Well, you can talk about it in a very practical way, but if you've got to talk about it from your experience, and we're going off on theoretical tangents all over the place, but
Yeah.
that's just what happens. See, we don't have free will, and that's why we go off on these tangents. I mean, we get ideas and we want to express them, and all this stuff is changing in our consciousness all the time. And there's nobody in charge of this. You think you're in charge because you were told as a kid, but and that's the last thing you want to get rid of, because that's the centroid of the ego. Free will is the center point of the ego, and you don't want to lose that. If you lose that, who are you? Right? I'm happier
Okay,
now
so
than I
if
ever
we
was.
don't have free will, then whose will do you have?
I have the comings and goings in my awareness of desire and attraction and repulsion and all these other things that come up. And that is what determines where I go. I mean, just ask yourself, why would you make a choice to do anything if you didn't want to do it? Wanting is desire. It arises within us. We're not creating our own desires. We're in a place where they come and they go all the time.
But we are conditioned to do things. There are a lot of people that don't have the desire to get up at 5 or 6 a.m. and drive an hour and a half to a job.
Right.
Right.
And some people do. Yes, that's true.
Okay.
That's absolutely true. But if you do have the desire and it's strong enough, then that's what you do. We're always taking the best deal. Like if there's two or more options in front of us, we'll always pick the one that is the best deal, the one that looks like it's going to be the best experience. Like, I'm here because this was the best deal to come on this day at this time. What else would I be doing?
But Brent, we also have been programmed to be in survival mode. Right? We are in a system of a banking system that's been set up that we have to earn money to have shelter, to have food, all this sort of stuff. Like, I mean, that I would, in that case, say if we only think in the material world, then maybe we don't have free choice in that respect, because we're thinking only in the material world. But we think beyond the material world, I think we do have free choice.
But why would you pick some? Give me an example of something in the world you're talking about that would be a choice. Give me an example.
Like, but what I'm saying is, and I think this goes what Eric's saying, at a higher level, choices are made, and it could be from our higher self, that we don't know the outcome until later.
Oh, okay, but that is something that's coming from the higher self. Let's say that that's true. I don't know if it's true or not. Let's just say it's true that
Okay.
if things are coming from the higher self, and we end up doing that. Why are we doing that? Because it sounds like the better deal to do than anything else.
Not if you're given a strong message. Look, get out there and do this. Do this. This is important. You have to get out there and do it.
Okay, then some people will ignore that, or some people will follow that. Eric's learned to follow that, and it seems to be working for him. So maybe he's on to something that's really true. Maybe he's
Yeah.
got a higher self. Maybe it is talking to him. I don't know. That's not the way it works with me, but it doesn't make any difference, because if he gets something and it comes from his higher self and he trusts that, he has a desire to follow that because it's been successful in the past. That's why he's following it. If whatever he got from them didn't ever work, he would not have the desire to follow that, and he wouldn't go in that direction.
Yeah.
Would he? I'm saying that underneath the idea that you're making choices between door A and door B is a desire that arises for A or for B. And you feel like you want to go through A or B. And as soon as you feel like it's one or the other, then you say to yourself, I choose that. But it's already a done deal, because we wouldn't ever choose anything we didn't want to do in the first place. I'm saying that the wanting that gets us to make the choice is not under our control.
Eric?
Again, I agree with every argument that Brent is putting forward, but that's a positive argument for me. And I think, I'm not sure, that is a negative argument for him. And to answer to Kenny's argument, meaning we are not, this is theoretical, this is not theoretical for me. I understand that when I put my quote unquote little will on the side, whether I like it or not, and I agree, I often even don't like it, but it's a better deal. So for me, it's a better deal to listen to my higher self, or whomever that is, because I understand that it works. And then I try to answer Brent's question. For me, and it's a belief, it's not a knowing, I agree, there is only one will. But what I don't understand, or what Eric doesn't understand, is his little will and the big will is one and the same. And that's the only learning curve I have. The only learning curve I have is when I put my petty little mind resistance aside, I see a wide open big will of quote unquote love, or whatever you call it. I don't call it love because I'm fighting it again. I found that there is a coordinator that understands it far better than I do. And I call it for myself in this perspective, the one will. And the closer I get to that one will, the more happy I get. Does Eric get more happy? No. He's still nagging. I want this, I want that. He's not getting happy, but he feels happy. But the mind still nag. The Eric's mind nags all day. The practical thing is, the less I listen to Eric, one thing I would add, I said already 5 times Eric. Who is talking? Not Eric. That's my argument.
Okay, Brent.
I was just going to say that I hear what you're saying. I think it's great. I think that you have, regardless of whether you're right or wrong about it being your higher self or whatever it is, I don't even care about that, what it is, but you have learned that something comes to you that has information for you that's helpful in your life, and you're following that. You want to follow that. That's why you're following it. You have a desire to follow that because it's been very good for you in your life. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But there isn't really a choice in doing that, is there? There's simply an acknowledgement that, oh yeah, this is the way, and I feel so good about this, and this is what I want. It's like whatever you want that's that desire. And so that desire is coinciding with something that works for you. And that's great. And you have to go in that direction. I don't think you'd call that a choice. You've got to go in that direction, because that is definitely the best deal. So yeah, I understand exactly where you're coming from.
One small remark, because you mentioned it also, Brent. There were times 20 years ago, not now anymore, that I was so frustrated and so against that energy, whomever that was, that it happened to me only twice, and that was very scary. He moved my legs and my arms without my agreement. And I said, who the fuck do you think is in charge? And then I said, okay, this is a little bit over the edge. But he made me, said, okay, you can fight me. And then again, I agree, it's the better deal. And again, do I have a free choice? If you ask Eric, no. On that perspective, totally no. Again, as you said, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Did I, Eric, decide to get up? No. I wanted to sleep. And I think Eric is still sleeping. That's the only thing I can say. I cannot say who's right or wrong. I only can acknowledge I'm talking to you and I'm not sleeping.
That is magnificent. You've found something stronger, bigger, better than you, and now you're following it because it's the best deal. And that's exactly what I'm doing. My ego wanted to keep my free will really badly. I was thinking I was controlling my life and I was making all these decisions. Now I see the truth of the matter, and that's not the case at all. And that's now being followed. Because that's the best deal. And so this egoic idea that we're controlling our lives and making these decisions. I mean, all you got to do is ask yourself, why do things not work? Like Kenny's poem was right on the money. It's like, I ask for this and I don't get it, and I want this, but I can't have it. You can't decide to be happy if you're not. You can't decide to be okay when you're not. You have to be honest with yourself about what you're feeling. And if we did have free will, if we did have the control, our lives would be totally different than they are.
Shakespeare wrote a play about this subject, and it was The Taming of the Shrew. And in that play, it's the way it's portrayed is a man and a woman, and nowadays people interpret it as a woman's movement thing, but it's not. What it is the two forces we're talking about: the basic animal body that we are as human animals, and some higher level of mind or entity, some higher self, we'll call it. Clearly not the body. And in his spin on it, if you just look at the play, check it out. It's a fabulous play, and it tells what the beliefs of that day were, to help the higher mind train the body to serve it. So Eric, your stories were great. That grabbing, moving your leg and your arm and imposing its will on you. Now there is another old Jewish statement, something about wishing that the higher will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And that's another discussion of the same phenomenon, where the higher source takes control of the animal. And then when the animal's way better off for that, and it has a happy life after that, when it serves its master, the higher self, or in the case of Jesus' prayer, it's God. God, you serve your God. So it's very cool. What we're talking about now has been talked about for a long, long time by people really, really wise. So we're right on it.
No, hey Dee, can you see me okay, or?
Well, no, she doesn't have her camera on, but that's okay.
Oh, all right, good. That means no one gets to look at my beautiful face. So,
Okay.
but no, it's been an interesting conversation tonight. So, a lot of the stuff I agree with, some stuff I don't agree with totally, and some stuff I don't agree with at all. But then again, that's the part of, I guess in this case, free will, or free speech, that, we'll have our opinions and our thoughts. And, despite not being able to jump in properly, thank you for letting me come in though, Dee Dee. And it's been very interesting. And then one of the thoughts when the gentleman was talking about, a kid will believe anything if you look them straight in the face and tell them whatever. One of the things, like, what's wrong with making someone feel good for a little bit? If someone's down, if someone's sad, if someone needs a pick me up, and you can tell them, you use the analogy of Santa Claus. Say, well, hey, Santa Claus is going to be coming in like 2 days, or I guess right now it's about 44 or so days now. And if that gets someone excited and that makes them happy, I don't see a problem with it. You don't want to completely lie and get people's hopes up, but we have the choice to believe things, and sometimes the choice is that we hear things so much that we go along to get along. But if you do something and it feels right and you feel happy about it, then to me, no matter what other people say or media says or whatever, if you do something and you feel right, or you feel it's right and you're happy with your decision, not, oh man, I'm doing this just to shut somebody up, then, to me, that's still having free will, even if you're being pressured into it. So I don't know if that's making sense or not, but that's just some of my thoughts on the conversations for tonight.
So I'm sorry. So are you saying we do have free will? That's what you're saying?
For the most part, yes, we do have free will, because like we all want an image of ourselves, and we have perceived images on life and how things should be. And like with the poem, we all want to have wealth, we all want to have happiness, we all want to have success, we all want to have something. But unfortunately, not everybody is able to get that for one reason or another, whether it's just something in life, something personal, whatever. But we all have something in life that either enables us or doesn't enable us. But there is a saying, whatever doesn't kill, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And when Faith was talking about with Jesus and the Bible and everything, and they always say that that God will not give you anything that you can't handle. So something that might look like it's an unsurmountable odd or a really difficult decision or whatever, it's something that we can overcome. So whether so we think about it, we figure it out, and then our decision is, am I doing this because this is something I really want, or am I just doing this and because I'm being told that I need to do this? So if people are saying, oh, like recently with the vaccines, it's like, they say, oh, it's a free choice, but you must have. It's like, okay, well, in that case, it's not really a free choice. But if you look at it and go, okay, I'm going to do it because I want to, then that's your choice. Even though the media is saying, oh, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. But if they're saying do it, and you're like, I'm just going to do it just to shut someone up, then, that's taking your free will away. So you can have free will even if you're being pressured into something, if that makes sense.
Any comments? Eric?
Let me enlighten you on my current situation. And I think that's for me the primal question. As we stated, Diane stated that in the beginning of our conversation. The thing is not whether I have free will. The thing is, how much am I influenced by society? That's my personal problem. I will elaborate on that. 4 years ago, my higher self or whomever said to me, this will be your last job. And I was happy because I said, wow, I don't have to work anymore. Wow. But that comes with consequences, meaning every day, again, my mind nags, where is my money coming from? And already 4 years, I don't have any income, but I have still money on the bank. I still am fed. I still get everything I need. So in the perspective of my higher self, I am free. Does Eric feel free? That's debatable. But then again, I have worked my way up and I don't have any income, but I am free. In the perspective of a normal person, I am free. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Again, that depends on the perspective. Do I want people to go there? They may, they might, but I will not promote that because it's a scary path. Meaning, tomorrow something will might happen, and they said, "Oh, Eric," and as Brent says or not says, I don't know. Tomorrow might be another day that it does not work. The only thing I can state is the last 4 years it works. And that's only that counts for me. And the rest, again, understand Eric is nagging every day. I would like to have this. I would like to have that. And then my higher self says, do you really need that? And I have to agree, I don't need it. And I'm not getting it. But in a general perspective, beyond Eric's nagging, I am free.
Yeah, and it's Bob here, and thanks, Eric. And I agree with what you're saying. Because you all have wants and needs in life, and what do we want? Do we want this? Absolutely. Do we need it? Not necessarily. So, you're going through life going, okay, I'm now able to do this. This is my choice. This is who I am now. Am I happy with who I am? Meaning Eric that's on here, Eric the higher being, Eric the higher being to the higher being. Not trying to say that you have alter egos or anything, but which version of yourself is really you and which is truly the happy Eric. So, and it's an ever-going journey throughout life. That I believe that, we're going to continuously go through changes in life, and who we are today may not be that same person tomorrow or 5 years from now, 10 years from now, or even 5 minutes from now, because, there's always something that's going to happen, and it's something called life that we can't predict. So, the only thing that we can predict is that something's going to happen at some point, and how we're going to deal with it, well, we'll figure that out when the time comes. So
I think what I'm realizing now is pretty straightforward what's going on here. There's a lot of people who believe in free will who actually think that their desire is their choice. Like, I want this, therefore that's what I've chosen. I want that, this is what I've chosen. And all I'm saying is that the wanting comes first, and it's the part of the comings and goings in the present moment in consciousness of things coming into mind, waking us up to something else new. And then we take a look at it and we go that way or we don't go that way. But desire is coming and going within us constantly and all the time. And if you think that your strongest desire is your choice, then you're always going to believe in free will and always be thinking that you're making the choice. But I'm just saying that you can't explain why that wanting is arising in any given moment or where it comes from. Nobody knows.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and I agree with you on that one too. So yeah, because we don't know what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and why. Okay, I'll use an example for myself. So I'm now in month 11 without having a cigarette. So I've smoked before, I've quit, smoked, quit, smoked, quit, smoked, quit. So, and it was the type of thing, okay, I wanted to quit, tried to quit, couldn't quit. Ran out of cigarettes one day, it's like, I'll go to the store later and I'll get some. And that's almost 11 months ago. So, so when you're talking about desire and everything, and, it's like, why is it this time it just happened that I ran out and said, I'll go get some later. And that's almost 11 months ago. Where other times it's like, okay, I'm going to quit. I want to quit, but I'm still smoking that half pack or more a day.
Did you want to comment, Brent?
Well, I would just say that you had a desire to stop smoking at some point. You weren't able to follow through on that because you had a stronger desire to keep smoking. And then something happened, and whatever it was, it's lasted 11 months, and now you don't have the desire to smoke that's strong enough to get you to smoke. What you have is a desire not to smoke. Maybe you've been thinking about the repercussions of continually smoking. So that's how I would look at it. I would look at it as the comings and goings of desire. Sometimes it's strong, sometimes it isn't so strong. Because if you have free will, you wouldn't have been doing things this way. When you first realized that you wanted to stop smoking, you would have just stopped. I'm exercising my free will and I'm not going to smoke cigarettes anymore. But the desire to smoke came back again, didn't it? And so that overrid the desire to stop smoking. Now you continue to smoke. So if you had free will, really had it, then you would be able to just decide and stop, and that would be the end of it. But because the desires keep coming and going, and the stronger one wins out every single time, and that's to keep smoking, then you keep smoking, even though you say to yourself, I don't want to smoke, I want to get off this stuff. But it's all due to the desires that we don't control.
But are they just habits? Is it just conditioning around us, right? I mean, and we're older, right? So it's hard to break things that we condition to do over and over again. Kenny, I just want to add.
The underlying logic to where the discussion is right now is about the laws of cause and effect. So the way I like to state those is that everything that we experience now was caused by something in the past. And everything that we do now causes something else in the future. So if we just have blind faith in that that's true, then it can explain what's this continuing up and down of desire, and our interpretation of it as having some sort of free choice. So the fact that we're born human means we're going to be hungry, we need sleep, we have all those human animal things. And the fact that we get trained by advertising companies and we go to school and we learn the English language and all these things that we've done in our past are the cause of what our lives are right now. So we don't really get a whole lot of choice about that. For example, if we wanted to be a doctor when we were a kid, we got to go to med school. But if we didn't feel like studying, then we couldn't get high enough grades to get into med school. So we can't. So the causes and effects of our lives are independent of us, and they rule us. Whatever we do today, we rob a bank. Well, guess what? We're going to serve some time in the slammer. So that kind of thing rules free will. So if we think we have free will and we decide to do something now that's going to make us give some good result in the future, that's about as close as we can come to free will. But if we decide to do something bad, like continue smoking, you know what's going to happen? Cause and effect.
Eric?
That's the thing that interests me very much, is cause and effect. Again, I cannot explain it. No, I gave enough examples for that. For Eric believes, and for me it's true, that Eric is a system, meaning the mind or the body lives in the third dimension. The third dimension has settings, and the setting is cause and effect. Cause and effect are separate, or seem to be separate. They are not separate, even not in 3D. And that's what I learned working my way up. I understood that duality, or cause and effect, is a perspective. And my higher self, me, Eric, and this one and the same, has a bird view, so to speak, beyond the duality. He explained it in theory and in practical. He says, for me, cause and effect are one and the same moment, quote unquote, of choice. I'm not saying whose choice, or one and the same choice. If you understand that, and you can level yourself and your knowledge and your knowing and your vibration and your consciousness up, then you understand there is no such thing as cause and effect as a separate thing. If you master that, then you can say literally, and I have to tell them this, thy will be done. Why? Because my will and thy will are one and the same, meaning my cause and your cause is the same. There is only one cause, but you have to free your will from every condition around you, within you, and without you. You have to free yourself from that precondition to see it. And if you see that, then you will notice cause and effect is just child's play.
Yeah. It's an illusion. Or are you saying, Eric, it's a law within the third dimension?
Yes,
The law of it.
every dimension has a different law, but it's the same law, but it's the expansion of the law.
Yeah.
But I call it, and I hope you understand it just as a feeling. It's, for me, it's a zooming in and a zooming out. Meaning, if I want to understand why things happen, I have to take on a dual perspective. Why? Because this is, okay, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. Do you understand it? That's for me kindergarten or the third dimension. And if you understand that, I said, oh, wait, if this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, then I can jump from 1 to 4. Theoretical, I hope I don't get too theoretical. Normally, the first law is addition. 1 and 1 is 2, and 2 and 1 is 3. That's the third dimension. But multiplication, that's a higher level. I don't have to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
No, 5 times 6 is 30, period.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything in between, I just discarded. Did I do an addition? Of course, and I did an addition, because a multiplication is an upgrade of an addition. The same thing with dimensions. If you are up to God, and that's my belief, the only one who has free will is God, because I am God's will. Eric doesn't understand that, because he's living in the additional world when he's counting 1 by 1, and he knows of 1 and he knows of 2, but he doesn't know of 10. He cannot see in the future. But for my higher self, there is no future, because there is no duality.
Yeah. So because God and us are the same will, when we're in this duality, we believe all the stuff that we're told that we must do, and that we age and all this sort of stuff, and that we have limitations and all that. But from an observer perspective, if we think of ourselves as bigger and looking at the little me here, we actually have a lot more power than we realize.
I wish God was here so we could have a conversation with him and he could
Okay.
tell us about this.
Yeah, I want to go back to that, Brent, because one thing you always say is we're all one. How do you know that?
It's
Where's your evidence?
It's a very strong feeling, and it's a knowledge of. I mean, I can feel it right now. I mean, I just, it's unquestionable.
But then that's your feeling, right? That's your interpretation. That's your perception, right? So I'm putting that out.
Everything is perception. I mean, you know,
everything is
I
perception,
don't
including whether you have will or whether you don't have free will.
Okay, then you
right?
can't
Free
say
will
there
and
is.
not.
Then you
Yeah.
can't say for sure there is free will if it's perception.
But you can't say for sure that there isn't no free will, right? If you look
based
at a
on
broader
my
level,
perception, based on my perception.
based on your perception.
But I've gone through some things that I don't think anybody else here has. I mean, no one's tried to prove free will to themselves because somebody said it didn't exist. I don't think anybody's done that.
But again, even your experience is your perception of that experience.
Well,
Right?
using
And
your
you're trying to
logic,
take it.
using the logic you're using right now,
You know what? There's a
could
lot of
say
people out there
nothing.
that Okay, go.
You can
Brent.
say anything. I mean, you can say anything with that logic. That's just your perception. You can say
But-
that and you
but
can kill
Brent-
every other thing that disagrees with you.
Yeah, but Brent,
Be careful.
that's often what you say. That's why at the start of this, I said, we're expanding our consciousness, be open to all, all thoughts, all experiences, right? That's why I say
Then be
that right
open
at
to
the
what
start.
be open to what I say too then.
I am. Okay, Eric.
I'm not going to explain it because it will be a totally different or an expanded discussion. But I just want to pinpoint the cornerstone of perception. The Rosetta Stone is the understanding what the Trinity means. I'm not because it will take for 4 hours to explain that, or 2 minutes, whomever, but I like to have a conversation on the Trinity because for me, the turning stone in my life, and still is the understanding of the Trinity. And that has nothing to do with Christianity. It's been adapted by Christianity, but it's not a cornerstone of Christianity. Is the understanding of what is a perspective. And again, I'm not going to explain it, but if you try to understand the Trinity, and if you like, I will explain it, but not now, if possible, then you understand where the cornerstone is and to understand what kind of discussion we are having here.
Okay. Kenny.
I would really like to have a meeting dedicated to that understanding of the Trinity. So I think that could be valuable, because when I was studying Christianity, that was the most beautiful and mysterious question. And all the great ones claimed they didn't have an answer, but they all did. I knew they were lying. And I finally find a guy here who can say, yeah, I know what it means, or at least he can offer a view. And I think,
Yeah.
would I ever like to hear that? Because I have a view too, but it's so difficult to explain. So the Christian mythology explains it, but I haven't figured it out yet.
But they don't understand it. They explained it, but they don't understand it.
Okay, so Eric, is this something you'd be, along with Kenny, be willing to take on as a topic next Tuesday?
The funny thing is, you're asking me, and I hope you see the joke. Is Eric Eric wanting to get up at 4 o'clock?
Gotcha.
You know,
You have the
you know,
desire.
you know the answer. Is
Oh,
Eric
you don't want to, but your higher self may
I
say you
don't
want
want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but is that, as Brent says, the biggest desire? I can assure you, no.
Okay.
Well, here you go, Eric, it's Bob. And a couple of the classes I'm taking in college right now, which is the health, wellness, and fitness. But one of the programs that we did was consultation and behavior change. And one of the big questions is, and since does Eric want to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning? And that, so, and you said, find the humor in this. So here's my humor back for you, Eric. Tell me about a time when, and what would it feel like when you're able to do it? Meaning that, if you got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, tell me, what was it like that time you got up at 4 o'clock in the morning? And what would it be like when you're able to do that again?
Eric doesn't
Again,
know.
No,
Eric doesn't know what his higher self is going to say a week from now.
no, totally not.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, any final comments? Brent?
I would just be repeating myself. I mean, I think the crux of the matter is, if you believe in free will, it's because you were told that as a child, and it hasn't come into question, and you haven't really looked at what happens before you make a choice and realize that the desire has to be there or you can't. And that's pretty much all I can say.
Faith? Anything you want to add? I think she's left us. Kenny?
In
No,
that
I'm
last
still here,
comment
just-
Okay, just let Kenny talk and then you, Faith.
Yeah,
Kenny?
sure.
in that last comment by Eric, my free will was thwarted once again. Thereby proving that I was right.
Okay, and Faith?
No, I've just been listening to what everybody's saying and some really incredible words of wisdom being shared.
Okay. And I did write down how many. It was 4 people that said yes and 3 that said no. I just want to know, has that changed among the group?
Anybody change?
Not for me, nope.
I've softened a little. I think I don't, it's not so much a yes or no, because the no is still true. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think there is such a thing as free will.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
it's just bullshit. It's just talk.
An interesting concept.
Yeah.
Right. And
Well, I
that's
guess I'm
it?
the only one that's changed. I don't believe I don't have free will anymore. I believe I have free will. Thank you so much, everyone, for changing that.
Brent. Anyway, so Kelly, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think actually I still kind of am unsure actually. I think that it also depends on, I don't know if there's free will really. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
It's
the wise
unusual, but I'm unsure. Yeah.
Kenny?
I think wise people say what Kelly just said.
Yeah. She doesn't know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can we know these things?
That's right. And Faith, anything to add? All right.
Nope, just carry on.
Okay. Anyway, I want to thank everyone and thank you, Eric, for joining us. And it was an interesting discussion. And I really appreciate everyone's feedback. And Brent, I'm sorry if I seem to be forcing my will on you. But anyway,
You are just awful. I feel
I
so
was
bad.
terrible.
I feel
I
so
was.
horrible right now.
Oh, anyway, but that's your choice. Anyway, okay. So thank you, everyone, and have a good night.
Good
And
night.
have a good morning, Eric. Take care.
Okay, see you all
Bye-bye.
later.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye,
Thank you, Bob.
guys.
Bye, Faye.
Bye.